Welcome to the 12th Report with Blessings Mosugu, and these are the headlines. Education in Nigeria faces another strike threat as Nigerian lecturers reject federal government loan deal, education grounded. Also in the fight for safety, News Central fronts the search for lasting peace in Nigeria's Middle Belt region. And finally, Pope Leo XIV rallies world in prayer against war. And of course, as usual, we have our correspondents stationed in different parts of the country, Omola Ololade and Victor Mbadike joining us here in Lagos, Aisha Yusuf and Joshua Emirayi also joining us from the FCT, and we also have Chimi Ogele who joins us from Anambra State. We've got the details in a moment. And now to the stories. Students may have to stay at home for some time as the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, threatens a nationwide strike, citing the federal government's failure to honor long-standing agreements to revitalize and fund public universities. Now, ASU President Christopher Piwona expressed frustration on Thursday over more than 2 years of unfulfilled promises and government delays. He highlighted unresolved issues, including the renegotiation of the 2009 ASU-FGN agreement on paid salary arrears, withheld promotions, and the welfare of retired lecturers. Now, Piwona also dismissed the government's proposed staff support fund loan scheme as a trap set to further impoverish university workers. Now, News Central's Omola Ololade now brings us the details from the University of Lagos. Omola, how are the students and even the lecturers reacting to the possibility of yet another strike, and what are their biggest fears?
Hello, Blessings. Yes, I'm presently at the University of Lagos, where I've spoken to a few students about the imminent strike. And one of their biggest fear, of course, is the fact that, the strike will cause another delay. I did find one student who refused, to speak on help. He said he has been studying for over 6 years now for a 4-year course, that, a strike happening now is not what he needs, because he just wants to do his exams and then, move on. And presently, the University of Lagos students here are already writing their exams, and they said that the exam, might not end until next month. So if any strike, starts any moment from now, it will not only disrupt the academic calendar, but of course cause a delay to their own progress academically. And I have some students here with me. I have Ada Ezure, and of course, please come, Ada Ezure, and also have Olamide Odemde, please come. So these are students of University of Lagos. Ada here is a 300 level student, and of course Olamide is a 200 level student. I've spoken to them, and one of their biggest fears really is the fact that the strike might actually cause delay. Ada, so what do you think if any strike happens now?
It cannot happen. It can't basically happen because I'm in the middle of exams, and it's just going to just prolong everything, and that's just not what is in my own mind now.
Okay. So you're writing exams now, and then the exam is supposed to start. It's supposed to stop. The exam is supposed to end next month, I guess. I think September 9 or 10, from what I gathered from the other students. So because ASU has said that on the 28th, if the demands are not met, then they go on another strike. How would that affect your exams?
On the 28th, I would have been done with my exams. Yes, with my own exams. So, I don't know. I don't wish for ASU strike to come now. Because even if I'm done, it's still going to delay my entrance into my final year. And I just don't want that to happen.
Thank you very much. Okay, now I'm going to move to Olamide, right? Olamide, what do you think about the imminent strike?
I think that it's going to cause an issue with people's exams. If they cannot write the exams that they are prepared for, it can cause some, mental and cognitive difficulties for when they want to come back and then write an exam that they should have been done with for a long time. Also, I think that for the students who have been here for almost 6 years for a 4-year course, it's going to be very demoralizing and make them probably lose their will to study in
I like your point, but besides, you would agree with me that besides, the renegotiation of 2009, which is of course the major cause for this looming strike, now the federal government has proposed that they want to give loans to academic staff, and they have rejected it. What's your stand? It's your first stand.
I agree with them rejecting the loans because I don't think loans are a profitable, a good sustainable solution in the long run because it's only going to cause issues later. Because how would they repay the loans if they are not even paid well in the first instance? I think that it's like a scheme of the government to have workers indebted to it and so that they can control, and which is not healthy. And I agree with them rejecting the loan proposals. I think the government should think of a better solution.
Thank you very much, Olamide. So you've heard it from the students. They have said concerning the strike that not a good one at the moment because of the timing, actually, as they are writing, especially because they're writing their exams. And now, talking about the loans, the students really, most of them do not support it. They support the rejection from the lecturers, saying that this is not a long-term solution. Rather, it's going to cause another problem.
You went to the loans because I was going to ask that. I mean, it's quite laughable, to be honest, that the federal government is offering loans of up to 10 million naira with a one-year moratorium and a repayment period of about 5 years, when these people still have unpaid salaries. Now you've told us what the reaction of the students are. Do you think, from the data you've been able to gather from the students around, both those who've spoken and those who are yet to speak, that this will affect their education and might even, provide for a longer strike period?
Yes, according to the report online, the president of the ASU here is saying that they have rejected this loan because they feel like it's not a long-term solution for them. What they are asking for is for them to be paid their 3 months without salary. Why then come up with a loan when you're supposed to pay their salaries? And they're saying that they have other means, that even lecturers themselves have found other means of getting loans. They have cooperative societies and all of that. And so if this loan, the proposal from the government to give them loan comes on board, it would rather destroy all this that has been put in place by some of these lecturers. So what they're asking for really is that the demands are met, the working conditions are improved, and basically they can then talk about maybe whether they'll take a loan or not.
Tomola from University of Lagos, thank you so much for giving us the update. And I was still talking about this very critical issue, and we have Taiwo Hassan, an education campaign rights activist, join us to discuss more on this. Thank you, Taiwo Hassan, for joining us. Now, Taiwo, as an education rights campaigner, do you think, based on all of the information that we've been able to gather about the proposed, funding relief, so to speak, by the federal government, offered by the federal government, and, ASU insisting that they need the monies that have not been paid all these years, do you think that this strike is needed at this time, considering that it will put the children's education or the students' education in jeopardy?
To be honest with you, when you consider the students who are going to be affected by any destruction of academic calendar right now, you are likely going to say that this strike is unnecessary. But then, when you consider the interest of the lecturers, who for years have not had any of the issues for which they have been asking for government attention addressed, then you will realize that from that point of view, this strike is something that has to happen because you have a government that has consistently refused to listen to ASU and every other union in the university. So that is actually the dilemma that exists right now. So that I think that for this strike not to happen, what all of us have to say is that the Tinubu government must immediately ensure that the demands of ASU is met. That is the only way, to ensure that students don't have to suffer another destruction.
There's an offer of up to 10 million naira, right, by the federal government to the staff in loans. There's also a moratorium for 1 year. There's also a repayment plan of over 5 years with a cap of 33.3% of gross annual salary. The salaries of these staff members have not been paid. Looking at this offer and the reality and the situation on ground, do you think that the government's loan scheme for tertiary staff members is a fair solution?
It is no solution at all. It's not even a question of whether it's fair or not. It is no solution at all. People are asking that their wages be paid. People are asking for improvement in their conditions, and the government is talking about loan. That's the same thing that the government is doing to students. Students have been asking for improved funding of public education, the reduction of fees, the provision of adequate lecture theatres and other, ingredients for quality education. The government brought a loan scheme. And you can hear what the students for UNILAG clearly said, that this is no solution, because at the end of the day, these are lecturers who are poorly paid. So when they obtain a loan, how do they pay back? So what you are going to have at the end of the day, is a situation where lecturers are indebted, and then from that point of view, they are not able to live a quality life. What we have to say, and that is what ASU is saying, is that the government must realize that an education sector cannot function without an adequately remunerated teaching and non-teaching staff. And that therefore requires that the government must provide a good working condition and wages to lecturers. Nigerian lecturers are some of the worst paid, even on the continent of Africa, let alone using the global standard. And just imagine, the Nigerian government is already considering increasing the salaries of pre-co office holders who are already receiving too much for doing nothing. So why can our lecturers not be given an appropriate salary scale, and instead the government is considering a loan scheme? This is unacceptable, and I think that ASU must continue to insist that what they want is an improved salary and conditions for their members.
All right, educational rights campaign activist Taiwo San, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your thoughts on this very pivotal conversation. We go on a short break now. It's still the 12th report. When we come back, we've got more stories. Stay with us. Still on the 12th report, since its inception in 1973, the National Youth Service Corps, widely known as NYSC, has stood as a pillar of unity, service, and national integrity in Nigeria. Established to heal the wounds of a civil war, the program brings together young graduates from across the nation to serve for 1 year in regions outside their place of origin. However, in recent years, as Nigeria grapples with rising unemployment and insecurity, calls for reforming the NYSC scheme have grown louder. One of such proposals is extending the NYSC service year to 2 years. Also, with rising insecurity in many parts of the country, corps members have become vulnerable, with some losing their lives during service, a concern that has sparked discussions about infusing basic security and self-defense training into the NYSC orientation curriculum. Our News Central's correspondent Aisha Saliu is on standby to get reactions from Nigerians about this. I'm quite curious, Aisha. I mean, amidst the call for a reform for the NYSC, one will think that the major concern will be the security issue, but we can hear some people clamoring for an extension to 2 years. If something isn't working for 1 year, why are people asking for an extension? What are people saying on the streets about this?
Well, Blessings, I think we should begin with the fact that we all know why the scheme was created, and a lot of people that I've spoken with this morning, they have stated that we know that the service has impacted in different spheres of life. I mean, education, healthcare, infrastructure, agriculture, especially in rural communities and underserved areas where those corps members are being posted to. But one of the other concerns people are saying even today is that some would say the scheme has outlived its usefulness and the reason it was set up. Others are saying that why they are saying this particular thing is because they say that even there is the uneven distribution of corps members. For some people I've spoken with this morning, they are saying that some corps members who are professionals are not even being posted to the area of the discipline, the course they studied in school. Say, for example, say someone who studied medicine in school and is a graduate is being posted to, say, a school, and it does not even in any way make any sense. And how is that even going to develop that particular person, amongst other issues that have come in the front burner this morning? But then I have a gentleman here who would also want to share his concern and reactions to whether the service here should be extended for the sake of the government and also the corps members, and looking at the security issues in that particular scheme. Thank you so much. Please join me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please, your name?
I am Sanusi Ismail Sharif.
Okay, so I just want to hear from you. What's your take on whether the service here should be extended and the quality of service and, of course, the scheme in general?
Yeah, actually, talking about Nigeria, looking at how labor market used to be and looking at how every day Nigerian university used to produce graduates. NYSC is truly a place where I think it's going to be a second place where Nigerian youths will be. That opportunity will be given to Nigerians to at least equip them, make them self-reliant, prepare them for the future, and make them productive. What I mean by that, if you look at the program, Skill Acquisition and Development, something called SAIT, done in the NYSC program, while Coyah in the camp. Yes. You understand that, yeah, a lot of effort is being put in place by the federal government to ensure that at least these youths are given hope. These youths are given a hope to at least be self-reliant, to reduce over-dependency on government. Because we realize all these ministries, if you go to all these ministries and agencies, you realize that these places are occupied. And the only way to at least increase the level of productivity in the country is when you give these core members a skill, at least to learn how to produce a shoe, to learn how to produce, how to be a photographer, to learn how to at least you have equipped him. You give him something at the end of the day when he is graduating, maybe you give him a capital, he will set himself, he will be self-dependent, he will not even look at any government opportunity. Depends on what this person is earning monthly or daily as a result of this skill you have given him. So, for instance, maybe if you are to divide ministry salaries today, maybe relatively an employer will be maybe earning maybe 2,000, 3,000 or 5,000. Let's make it even 10,000. If you have prepared these core members with this skill acquisition and you extended the program to at least 2 years, you have prepared them very well. Surely these core members will be going out there looking for maybe 20,000, 30,000 daily. So relatively this one is even more, more encouraging. If you go to India and China, they use this development, they use this population to bring about productivity.
Thank you so much. Well, Blessings, you have heard from one of the respondents, the residents in Abuja. Well, he, just like I stated earlier, he is also supporting the fact that there should be, an increment, or I would say an extension of the service year. Some have said that attributed this to it would reduce the level of unemployment in the country, and also when the 2 years service year is incorporated, it will create some form of balance for these core members who would be finishing their service by then.
Aisha, thank you so much for that extensive research and, of course, getting the view on what the people are saying on the NYSC program. Now, the residents of Anambra State have called for the control of a state vigilante group known as Guinea Chamber to check their excesses. Now, they're also raising concerns about their mode of operation, which they say does not provide suspects with fair hearing, leading to violation of rights. The residents also claim that the operatives of this local security outfit had at various times arrested and extorted Anambra people. News Central's Chinwe Ugele joins us for more update on this. Chinwe, thank you for joining us. What is going on with the vigilante group Guinea Chamber, and is there any veracity to the claims against them?
Thank you very much. The situation is that people are not so sure with their mode of operation as it is right now.
All right, we sincerely apologize. We're unable to establish any audio connections with Chinwe Ugele as of this moment, but definitely we'll circle back to find out what's happening with the vigilante group Guinea Chamber. Now, the Independent National Electoral Commission has declared Kamilu Saidu of the All Progressives Congress the winner of Kaura Namoda South State constituency by election in Zamfara State. Returning officer Lawal Saidu of the Federal University Gusau announced the outcome, confirming Saidu polled 1,181 votes in the supplementary election to defeat the People's Democratic Party candidate, Mohammed Lawal Coyah, who secured 194 votes. The by-election held on Saturday was declared inconclusive due to irregularities in some polling units. After the supplementary poll, the APC recorded a total of 8,182 votes across the constituency, while the PDP finished with 5,544. Nigeria's federal government says that more than 13 million social media accounts were shut down in 2024 over harmful content. In a statement made available to News Central Television, the National Information Technology Development Agency says that over 754,000 complaints were registered, with more than 58 million pieces of harmful content taken down across several platforms. The statement also added that over 400,000 posts were removed and re-uploaded following user appeals. News Central's Joshua Imurai joins us for more on this. Joshua, over 13 million social media accounts is a huge number. Do we know what specific platforms these are and what regions these are targeted at? Once again, we were unable to establish connections with Joshua's audio. We'll come back to him on that story. To more stories now. We look at News Central's drive to amplify the need for security, the voices of all Nigerians, by holding another town hall meeting in the Middle Belt region. This time, the conversation moved to Jos, the Plateau State capital, with a focus on the crisis bedeviling the Middle Belt region of Nigeria. The forum brought together political leaders, security operatives, and stakeholders in the region, all raising their diverse voices for a lasting solution.
This thing has pained me. That day that we stood and talk so that we arrange the peace with them is that very day they will all again to go and attack another village.
This issue keep on repeating, killing and discrimination of Fulanis, animal poisoning, roastling of animal, butchering of animal, and then the media is taking sides. Media is not reporting what is expected because when something happened to Fulani, you hardly see it or hear it in the media.
Thank God for News Central for what you're doing. Unfortunately, you are very young. You started in 2017 or thereabout. But these atrocities have been going on for many years. 2019, I spent 162 days in prison for my uncompromised reportage. And when I was stepping into Kaduna prison, the first thing I wanted to see were the terrorists that have been terrorizing our people. I didn't find any. I heard my dear sister, Mariam, saying ethnic profiling. That's not true. In 2021, the executive governor of Katsina State, Bello Masari, said that the so-called bandits are Fulanis like him and they are Muslims like him. The Sultan in 2022, during the inauguration of Magban in Abuja Central Mosque, he said that Magban should call the Fulanis to order for banditry. I didn't say it. So should we now say that the Sultan was ethnically profiling the Fulanis?
On that very day, they killed one of my uncle, they butchered him, and they also ate his meat. They cook his meat and eat it. If I were talking now, they'll say, you are a Fulani man. I will go look for admission. They'll say he's a Fulani man. We can't grant him admission. Of which I'm an indigene.
Women are crying every day. We are being raped.
We have youths. Let's bring them together. Let's form holistic vigilante group, not vigilante group that will take sides.
Until justice is done, there will never be a solution. If you get a Fulani man that is a killer, deal with him as a killer. If you get a bureau man that is a killer, deal with him as a killer. And this will come to an end.
The areas where all these crises are taking place are vast. We cannot have security in every single place. And even if we do, if somebody wants to kill another person, or vice versa, it cannot be stopped until we agree to stop all the killing. That being said, as Commander Operation Safe Haven, I want to assure everyone that we will be just, there will be equity, and we will be fair to everyone. But we need the help of each and every person.
If you are aggrieved, report to the nearest security agency. And I'm giving you assurance. When you report, we act on all these reports.
But one thing that is sure here is the fact that there's some complexity in the issues that have been raised that is beyond us dealing with it as Plateau State government. However, there are much efforts that are being put in place to address these issues once and for all.
Whoever you are, wherever you are in the world, our appeal from News Central and my appeal personally to you will be, please, I beg you, let the violence stop. Let there be peace. Let peace reign supreme in the land.
We were talking earlier about the allegations raised against the new vigilante group Agune Chimba in Anambra State, and we have News Central's Chinwe Ogele joining us live now. Thankfully, we're able to establish audio connections with her. Chinwe, what are the allegations and what's the veracity of the claims?
Well, the allegations include the not giving the residents of Anambra State or the indigents the opportunity to, express themselves, to defend themselves, the use of excessive force, and then the masking of the operators, because the people say sometimes they mistake them to be actual criminals, where in the real terms, they are people who are meant to protect lives and the property of the citizens. So a lot of them have spoken to me earlier, and they have claimed that some of them were victims of their, the use of excessive force. I have here with me Gabriel. Gabriel works in a motor park here at Amobia. By the way, Amobia is a neighboring community to Oka. And he told me about his experience. So I'm going to let him tell you what he experienced in the hands of the local vigilante group. Hello, Mr. Gabriel. How are you?
I'm fine.
So, working for and here in Sunday after the chamber again.
Last week, Friday, I'm on the park. Only me park, but they got the park about park. Right. Go, Patana park. I open or money thing out there. Gari every teacher. That's how my mom see every other they drop. I got not bribe. My office city teaching. I got not bribe. Nature bring ban of peace. Bring ban of peace. Some with 50,000. That is a map. But they are don't worry him with 50,000. I'm on even a roll. Now I get to my got caught. I've been got caught to go to I got caught to do with it. You may say down the average. I'm 30,000. Baby, no.
So, man, hold on,
because that time I put a over him. I come guys are Christian. I got not there.
Thank you very much. Okay, so what he said summarily is that he was working at his motor park where he was loading vehicles when they stormed there and just took him away, took him to their office and ended up extorting the sum of 30,000 naira from him. He said he was not, however, hurt by the operators, but then it was because his manager had intervened and told him that he would kill them if they harm him. So this is just the typical of most of them have said, even though they also say that they are seeing a significant improvement in the issue in the area of security. Government control their activities somehow.
Okay, so the question now remains, what has the government done in this regard? And have the vigilante groups themselves been questioned about these allegations?
Yesterday, I spoke with the Commissioner for Information. I interviewed him, and he told me that the state government already put in place a committee that is meant to oversee the activities of the local vigilante group. So what they do is that if they find you guilty, they discharge you and then hand you over to the police, like the case of the co-member who was recently allegedly molested by members of this group. So what the government says is that they make sure that they do not act out of line. And if that happens, the committee is there to take actions against whoever goes against the law setting up the Agune Chamber.
Thank you for the update on that story. We're looking forward to seeing how that pans out. It's still the 12 reports. We're going on a short break now. When we come back, we have more stories. Stay with us. Still the 12 report and more stories. Hundreds of residents affected by the ongoing demolition around the Jaji military cantonment, Kaduna State, have called on the state and federal government to intervene in the matter to reduce the hardship they are currently facing. Members of the evicted communities have sought refuge in a newly established internally displaced people's camp where they describe their situation as traumatic, saying that they are in need of temporary shelters, food and medical care for themselves and their children. News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu, who has been following this story closely, now joins us. Emmanuel Bagudu, you have been on ground following this story. Can you paint a vivid picture of what the situation is like as we speak?
Yes, it's a situation that can be likened to a humanitarian crisis. And of course, the communities have secured 3 IDPs provided by the government and the one provided by the Catholic Church. And they are currently in a very, very sorry situation. They are complaining of medical health care. Their children are sick. Their daughters, their mothers are having miscarriages and all that. They don't have anywhere to sleep. Very pathetic situation located in Jaji. The 2 IDP camps are actually facing the cantonment. And they said they are really, really in need of humanitarian assistance right now. Yeah.
So has News Central been able to receive any response so far from the Kaduna State government or from the military authorities regarding the eviction and the plight of those in the IDP camps and the IDP setup itself?
Yes. The military authorities in Jaji have responded. They said that the eviction and demolition is going to continue. There is no going back about it. And of course, the little response I have seen from the state government is coming from the chairman local government council, Igabi local government, where that community is under. The 2 House of Assembly members, they are able to bring in grains, some kind of food assistance into the IDPs to help push the effects of hunger. Those are the only few responses, I think. And currently, the general reaction is the fact that the Kaduna State government is slow about the issue. They make references to previous governors, late Patrick Yakoa, the former governor, immediate past governor, Nasir El-Rufai, whom they say have actually been able to control this kind of situation. But they are saying that the current governor Obasani did not really take this issue serious. That's why they are in this kind of situation, which they say is unfortunate. They believe the governor should have been more proactive, just like his predecessors, because they said the former governors actually insisted that there must be the settlement program. There must be areas where these IDPs should be resettled, where these communities, be resettled before being evicted. But this particular governor didn't do that. So they believe that this governor is the person that actually put them in this kind of situation. That's what they told me. And the governor, they say, must stick up to his responsibility. Yeah.
All right, Bagudu, thank you for joining us and giving us more information on that story. Now, we also mentioned earlier that the Nigeria federal government says that more than 13 million social media accounts were shut down in 2024 over harmful content. And we have Joshua Mory on standby to give us updates on that story. Joshua, earlier I was trying to find out, 13 million accounts is a lot. Do we know what particular platforms that these affects?
Good afternoon to you, Justice. This 13 million accounts suspended represent a summation of the compliance effort from big tech companies and tech companies. Interactive computer services, just the one we know popularly as social media. And these platforms involved are Google, Microsoft, and TikTok. Well, this report was actually released by Minister, but unfortunately, Minister did not do a platform by platform basis on how these accounts were suspended and why these actions were taken. But one thing we know that this is in compliance of the Code of Conduct Practices as signed by Minister, NCC, and the NEC.
Any clarity on the decision-making process that leads to these takedown actions? Is it that a group of people report these accounts, or do they just flag it down? How do they go about it?
Well, like I said earlier, this compliance action actually involves the conduct procedures, particularly that govern social media. And most of these compliance issues were raised by users of these platforms. One thing that we know as regards this report is that complaints from users were recorded, and the people who submitted this complaint were total to be 754,000 people who submitted this complaint, and 59 million takes down we are taking. And importantly, this platform, as you all know, according to their community guidelines and standards, actually do due diligence before these platforms are taken down. And one thing we know is that 420,000 appeals were made, and those appeals resulted to content we uploaded. And in that case, this process is to ensure that the users are protected, as well as to ensure that there is sanity governing the ecosystem of social media.
All right, thank you for the update. And we're hoping that this can at least restore a bit of calm, especially in the digital world, right here in the country we find ourselves. Thank you. A call has been made for men to be more involved in family planning, highlighting its importance in fostering healthy family relationships. The appeal came during a sensitization meeting organized by the Society for Family Health in Yola South, aimed at promoting innovation in self-care and encouraging the use of family planning methods, particularly child spacing. Now, News Central's Umoru Kira reports that the meeting sought to engage community stakeholders and raise awareness about shared responsibility for family health and well-being.
Itself, the DISC project, which is delivering innovation in self-care, specifically is encouraging women to take care of themselves, to adapt what we call the self-care. And in the self-care, that's in regards to family planning itself. We encourage women to take up a family planning method called the Sayana Press, popularly called the Sayana Press. We call it the DMPA-SC. It is a type of injectable that a woman can use for family planning, and she can self-inject it herself. It is a Uniject. Specifically, it is meant to be self-injected, not to be provided by the service provider in the facility.
We go on a short break now, and when we come back, the 12 report continues. And now let's take a look at some business stories. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, NNPCL, reported a sharp decline in profit after tax, falling from 905 billion naira in June to 185 billion naira in July, a 79.6% drop, according to its monthly financial report. Now, total revenue also slipped from 4.57 trillion naira to 4.41 trillion naira, despite crude output rising to 1.7 million barrels per day, and gas production increasing slightly to 7.7 billion cubic feet. Statutory remittances to the government between January and June reached 7.97 trillion naira. Now, NNPCL highlighted progress on key gas projects, with the AKK pipeline 96% complete and the OB3 pipeline 83% done, delivering 300 MMSCFD. The firm affirmed its commitment to operational efficiency, energy supply stability, and long-term profitability. We're still talking business. New research published by the South African Reserve Bank highlights the urgent need for the central bank to adopt a more flexible monetary policy framework that incorporates climate risk considerations. The study warns that traditional tools may be less effective if climate shocks such as droughts, floods, and supply disruptions in key sectors are ignored, as they drive up production costs, inflation, and interest rates. Now, climate-related events also weighed on economic growth, reduce investment, and worsen South Africa's 33.2% unemployment rate. Researchers recommend climate-informed interest rate policies, stress testing, and complementary fiscal and agricultural interventions, including climate-resilient infrastructure and sustainable farming, to mitigate environmental shocks in the economy. Now, South African miner Goldfield raised its interim dividend after reporting a more than threefold increase in first-half profit, driven by soaring gold prices and higher output. The company realized an average gold price of $3,281 per ounce, up 40% year-on-year, while production climbed 24% to 1.136 million ounces. Operational improvements across Salares Norte, Chile, South Deep, South Africa, Cerro Corona in Peru, and Gruyere in Australia supported growth, with Salares Norte producing 123,600 ounces and on track for commercial output in the third quarter of 2025. Let's go back to security matters in Nigeria, where the death toll from Tuesday's dawn terror attacks on worshippers in Guinea Landslide community, Malumfashi local government area of Katsina State, has now risen to 32. Initial reports had put the number of casualties at 13, but during a condolence visit on Wednesday, a state government delegation confirmed that 32 people lost their lives, with an unverified number of residents abducted. Earlier on, News Central's Rukayat Abubakar joined the breakfast show to give more updates on this story.
According to the press release, 13 people were killed, according to the press release by the government. But when I went to Manso community, they told me that at least not less than 45 people, and among that 45, they are not even sure if that is the actual number of people killed, because some were burnt, like beyond recognition. So they don't even know the number of people killed, but they said at least 45. And at least 60-something people were kidnapped. The community was, some of the houses were burnt. These people they are broken. They are angry. Because according to the press release, the Katsina State government said they have deployed security, they have taken security measures. They have deployed security agencies to the village. But to our own surprise, I'm telling you, only there is no single security operatives when we went to Manso yesterday. Not single security operatives, except the police that escorted us here. They said nobody came. They said when they kept calling when the attack was happening, but nobody was there. Nobody went to them. They said they called the chairman, they called the DPO, they called people, commissioner for internal security, but there was no response. It was after the attack. Then they now sent, I think, it wasn't the soldiers, I think it was the Air Force. And that is it. So these people are broken. I can say they are angry. Looking at the videos I sent, you can see them crying. They are so bitter. They are angry. They are angry at the government. They are so angry that they are just calling on the government to just kill them so that they should just do away with them. Let us just die. Because this is not going anywhere. They said they killed us in some houses. I think the entire house was wiped out.
Now, outside the African continent, Pope Leo XIV has declared Friday, August 22nd, a global day of prayer and fasting for peace, coinciding with the feast of the Queenship of the Blessed Virgin Mary. The call comes amid escalating violence in Ukraine, the Holy Land, and other conflict zones. Speaking at St. Peter's Square, the Pope urged the faithful to fast, pray, and perform acts of charity to awaken conscience and inspire change. He called on Mary, Queen of Peace, to help nations find peace. And finally, a symbolic rewrite, this time written in street signs. Last week in Niger's capital, Niamey, French colonial names were booted out and a new kind of independence was mapped out, well, literally. Picture this. Crowds dancing in the streets as workers unveil fresh new signs honoring Nigerian heroes. In Niamey, 11 roads got the makeover treatment. Out went the French names that had lingered like unwelcome guests decades after independence. And in came Sultan Agaba, a pre-colonial ruler, and General Ali Saibu, a former head of state. Perhaps most importantly, street corners finally gave recognition to pioneering women like Hamsatu Dante, Hawa Isa, and Ramatu Dudu. Now, the symbolism runs deeper than mere signage. When you walk down a street named after your own heroes, instead of those of your former colonizers, something shifts in your relationship with that space. It becomes truly yours, not just politically, but psychologically. And this isn't just about Niger. Across the continent, from Senegal to South Africa, The great street naming revolution is quietly unfolding. Although in Nigeria we had a bit of drama, with the naming of a particular bus stop. You know what I'm talking about. But a soft power in action, the kind of decolonization that happens one road sign at a time. You see, it's not just renaming, it's reclaiming, part of a continental push to honor those who shaped the continent, not those who colonized it. Because when you control what your streets are called, you control how your children learn to navigate, not just their city, but their identity. And that's your postscript. Well, that said, in sports, the 2025-2026 Nigeria Premier Football League returns today, with champions Remo Stars taking on runners-up Rivers United at the MKO Abiola Sports Arena in Abeokuta. Let's quickly hear from Favor Itua. Favor, are you ready for us?
Yes, of course, blessings. Football fans in Nigeria have been looking forward to this, and finally, the Nigeria Premier Football League season kicks off today with mouth-watering fixture headlining the opener Remo Stars versus Rivers United. Interestingly, both teams were first and second last season, and it promises to be exciting. Let's see what happens. Many more on in the game.
Well, you've heard it. Stay tuned for In the Game for more of the sports stories. Remember, you may send your eyewitness report to us. We want to see what you see. And also do well to follow us across all socials. We are at News Central TV. And you can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, Star Times channel 274, Avo TV, and of course, live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Blessings Osugu.